So greetings to you, greetings, and happy holidays. Greetings and happy holidays. Let me see. Yes. Greetings and happy holidays. Welcome to Uncensored Guyana. I am proudly Dr. Prasad, your precious gift. And I'm here to be impartial, unbiased. I'm here to deliver on common sense issues that affects all of us. I'm here to deliver on those issues. The question is asked, what is it about? Is it about oil? Is it about narcotics? Is it about the drugs? What is it about? Now, I have those questions. A lot of you, most of you, all of you do have those questions. We would soon find ourselves mixed up in a war that we want no part of. We didn't initiate, we didn't plan, we didn't execute, we didn't conspire for, but we will be victims of a war that we want nothing to do with. When Venezuela was busy a few months ago trying to annex Essequibo, when Venezuela was busy, as in the Maduro regime was busy sending terrorists and mercenaries and his militants to infiltrate the Guyanese community, when he was busy doing that, in anticipation that he will get his way, in anticipation that he will have the resources he needs to declare war on Guyana, and when he does, he has his operatives in Guyana ready to strike Guyanese. When he was doing that, still, our good president stood his ground. He knew that we didn't have the capacity. We still don't have the capacity to fight a war with Venezuela, with nobody. But he stood his ground. And though we are, how must I put it, one bag of peas against the bag of rice, he showed balls and said, no, you're not going to bully us. You're not going to come and try to terrorize and intimidate my nation because you have a larger army, a larger population. I'm going to seek legal recourse on this matter. And the president of Guyana used his common sense and used the law, international laws, maritime laws, sovereign laws, laws that governs sovereignty. He used that. He approached the body that is there to make sure that these things are kept in place. He used the UN, CARICOM, the OAS, all the organizations. He fought with a weapon of the law and justice. And he managed to avoid total devastation of Guyana without firing one bullet, even though the Venezuelans fired many bullets at our soldiers, at our people, at the borders. President Ali didn't retaliate. And he won. We won. Because the court blocked, barred Maduro and his regime from doing anything stupid And he still did a lot of stupid things. He had an elections. He appointed a governor for Essequibo. He started building bridges at some island. He still continued to bully Guyana. Large rallies, sensitizing, exciting his people. He redrew the map of Venezuela, extended the curriculum in his schools to educate the generation now about the importance of Essequibo to Venezuela. He did all of that. And our president didn't shiver. He stood his ground, he appealed to all the political organizations in Guyana to let's stand together. Forget about all the party politics. Let's stand together. Because an attack on one is an attack on all of us. He did that and managed to keep us from being invaded and attacked by Venezuela. However, the tables have turned. Now Venezuela is under attack by a much larger, more powerful, more devastating military in the world. And you have forces within Guyana who forgot that just a few months ago, the same nation wanted to overthrow our government, wanted to take advantage of our citizens, wanted to steal our land. And factions in Guyana right now are siding, being sympathetic to Venezuela, to Maduro, and the oil tanker that is seized, talking about its theft. What the fuck is wrong with you? You should be happy that the Americans are taking these problems off our hands. You should be happy. You should cheer the Americans. Why are you being sympathetic with Venezuela? Just because the PNC is not in power. Just because you have an issue with an Indian president. You allow your racism to cause you to be unpatriotic, to side with a nation that just recently wanted to bomb Guyana. As a matter of fact, they sent their people in Guyana and they bombed a gas station. They murdered a child. They bombed a police station. And you are siding? You're sympathetic? You're accusing the Ali government of colluding with the Americans against Venezuela? Fuck Venezuela. Yes, fuck Venezuela. They just now, I don't even want, I heard politicians, with all respect to Barajagdio has to say what he has to say publicly. Barajagdio has to be politically correct. I don't have to be politically correct. Barajagdio has to be. And since Barajagdio came out of his vacation, and apparently they had to send his double away because the double did a terrible job. The double could not replicate Jagdio, so it's like, fuck, what am I paying you $100,000 for? They had to send his ass back to India. And Jagdio decided to come out as Jagdio. Yeah, the PNC said that Jagdio had a double, right? Didn't they say that? The double is Jagdio. You mean Jagdio paid himself to imitate himself while himself is resting? You need an award, Vice President. You deserve, Vice President Jagdio, you deserve an Emmy Award for Best Actor. You acted as your double, then you acted as yourself. So you paid yourself $100,000 to act as yourself. Damn. That's why the man is the greatest politician. He's good. He's really good. So the Win people are disappointed that Jagdio is not a double. It's actually Jagdio. They're disappointed. Like, oh shit. Who gave us this fake news? Yeah, well, you listen to Melly Mel and Bench Cop, Fuck Cop. No, fuck is when you like women. Anti-cop. You listen to them and you pushed fake news. Now Jagdio, Bar Jagdio showed up and you realize, oh shit, it's Jagdio. All the time it is Jagdio. Yes, you stupid fools, it is Jagdio. Ain't no Indian double from India. The things you believe, man. Damn. Anyway, our good vice president, former president, and greatest politician, he has to be politically correct. He's in the game for a long time. So he knows that he has to be careful what he says. Because it's not just taken locally, it's internationally. He can't say anything that sounds as though he's against immigrants or against refugees. So he has to say things, you know. So if Bar Jagdio is saying that while we have to be careful with the terrorist and bringing out the digital ID card so you can have a different background. I mean, Suriname has that. Suriname always have that digital ID. The residence has a different color, red, and the citizens has yellow. So anytime you go somewhere, even if you speak the language well, and there's no accent, from your ID card, they can tell that, okay, this is not a citizen by birth, but by maybe a resident, and this is a citizen. If you're not born here, you get a one with a red background. So it's the same thing Guyana is busy with. There's no conspiracy. It's nothing new. It's here. It's everywhere. Now they're implementing that in Guyana, and it's a very good thing. It's a very, very good thing. It's late, but it's good. So when you have to give, when every citizen that come into the country, foreigner, must apply for status, and you get this thing like a green card, you know, things like that, then it's easy to identify, it's easy to track them. And the fact that the government is busy with 4,000 cameras to be installed, then you can do facial recognition. I've been calling for that for a while now. Crowd control, which has to do with facial recognition. So anywhere they go, you can find them. Even if they put on the face mask, the cameras, the AI is going to take measurements. So when they take off the face mask, boom, they get them. Face mask is not going to hide it. When you scanned, all the details are captured. So when you take the face mask off, it's already there. They know who you are, so you can't get away with crime. That's good. That's good. But I don't want it to sound as though the vice president is encouraging immigrants, encouraging people from Venezuela. I don't want it to sound like that, because that's how it sounds. Because Guyanese are lazy, and Guyanese are not taking advantage of the employment that's available, and you cannot stop progress. You have to be accommodating, you have to be opened to people who come from different countries and want to be a part of the production of the workforce. Yes, immigrants build America. They build Europe. That's a fact. But Guyanese are everywhere. One of the reasons why Guyanese leave Guyana, they have left Guyana, is security problems and opportunity problems. Security problems in that they are robbed, mobbed, molested, taken advantage of by the blacks. Okay? The black people are the reason why Guyanese left Guyana, because they are not safe. They're terrorized, they're traumatized. So you got to correct that. You have to deal with the security issues. The second thing is, these people who come from Venezuela and get involved in an employment agency, most of them are underpaid. Most are underpaid. Because if the average wage in Guyana is 5,000 a day, they would pay the Venezuelan 3,000 a day, 2,000 a day. They would accept it because in Venezuela, they're not even earning 500. So of course, the natural ability of the average Guyanese to want to go out compared to having to compete with a lower wage, they would not go out and accept the job. They wouldn't take it. But the Venezuelans will take it, especially those who are sleepers, who are there waiting for their boss to give them the order, whether it's Azzuddin Mohammed or Maduro. They're going to accept anything. And the women, most of the women, if not all of them, are prostitutes. So if they are working with a Chinese for 2,000 a day, or they're doing some domestic, or they're doing something for that kind of money, they don't care, because at nights, when they are prostituting, they earn 20,000, 30,000 by prostituting. So they don't care with the whole sham that they're working, they're employed. It's not important to them. They do the same thing here. They pretend to be working at normal shops or the Chinese and stuff like that, but you see them on the streets at nights. The same people prostituting. That is not what you want in your society. You don't want those elements. If people, you got to do like America. Take the best. The only people that find their way in America by way of prostitution and things like that are the ones who go into the borders, go in via the borders, who jump the borders and go. Illegal immigrants. But the ones who go through the right process, you have to be the best. America usually takes the best from your country. So when you find somebody from Guyana in America, they're no fool. And they have legitimate status, they're no fool. They're well educated, professionals, career people, and they're doing really good in the US. They ain't going there to beg and to fucking prostitute. That's for the ones who overstay. Like Melly Mel, that's what they do. They drink, they get drunk, and they have orgies because they didn't go through the right process in order to be qualified for certain status. But most of the other Guyanese in America, they're well-off people because America gave them priority because they are the best Guyana has produced. Guyana has to return the same favor to other countries. Don't take their shithole people. When you're vetting them in the country coming through the borders, or they're applying for refugee status, you know, you got to be proper vetting. Prioritize the ones that are skilled. We have embassies in different countries. You offer the opportunity. Say, hey, you have vacancies. Let the embassies that Guyana has in other countries publicize in the local papers of the countries. Do advertisement, commercials. Guyana needs skilled people. You get all these benefits if you come. You leave it up to the borders. The people who have careers and jobs and things like that in Venezuela, they don't have to leave. They're working for the government. They have good jobs. The pay might suck, but they have good jobs. They're working for the government. The ones who come are the ones who, the fucking hustlers, the market vendors, the school dropouts, the drug dealers, the junkies. They're the ones who come over the borders. And that's what you take into your society, Vice President. And they go on these work sites as laborers. Laborers, not engineers, not skilled workers, laborers. That's the force, that's the labor section that they occupy. Laborers. You pay them shitty money, they do it. But the average Guyanese would refuse it. They will turn it down. Even though they're not skilled, in their minds, let the Venezuelan do it. And they're going to lime and see where they can steal. Or these same Venezuelans, at the end of the fortnight or the month, they rob these people for the money that they couldn't work for. So that rhetoric, I'm against from the vice president. I'm against that. Pay Guyanese more. They deserve it. Pay Guyanese more. And on that note, I want to expound a bit more on that note. I may have said the other day the president probably earns about 5 million because I didn't get the right figures, but I came across information that it's about 3 million a month, around that, or 3.5, something like that. And the fact that the ministers, cabinet ministers, would earn about, and the opposition leader, about 2 million a month. Let's look at that for a moment. The ministers are public servants, including the president. But let's look at the ministers. Public servants. The people who actually do the job in these ministries are the permanent secretaries, the directors, and the people under the ministers. The ministers are just there as party appointees. They don't do anything. Nothing. They don't make deals. They don't broker deals. They don't do shit. They're just there for photo op on behalf of the cabinet. They represent the cabinet. And the cabinet represents the party. The ministries is the government. The cabinet is the party, the political party representatives. So I need to qualify in my mind, because I thought the ministers earn about 500,000. That's what I thought. Because that is a justifiable figure for me. 500,000 Guyana dollars a month is a justifiable figure for a minister of the cabinet. But having learned that they earn almost 2 million a month, and the average same public service, this in the private sector, this is the public sector. And the public service, nurses, teachers, everybody in the public service system works for about 100,000, around that, 100,000. And they are the ones who have to get up, take care of their children, do their chores, take the bus, go to a job from 7 to whether it's 3 or 4, then go back home, do the same thing all over again, pay their light bill, pay their water bill, pay their telephone bill, go into the grocery store, shop, clothes, food for them and their family on 100,000 a month. If you have a husband and a wife, he might be earning more, let's say 150. That's 250,000 per household. They may have 2 or 3 kids. I understand the cry about hardship and poverty. I understand. 2 persons are getting $500,000. I mean, $250,000. That sounds like a lot. 250,000 Guyana dollars a month. And from that, they have to pay the mortgage. Or if they're paying house rent, they have to buy food. They have 3 kids. So it's a household of 5 people. And they have to survive every month on a salary of 250,000. And if the woman is a bitch and the man leaves, she has to survive with 3 kids on 100,000 per month, while we have a government employee, a minister of government, earning 2 million. One person. 2 million. And with that 2 million, their rent is covered. Free housing, free gas, free electricity, free water, free groceries, free travel, money for clothing, money for entertainment, money for luxury, money for vacation on a 2 million salary. When you put all of that together, that minister, with all the tips and the stipends and the additions to that salary, can very well come to about 3.5 million a month. While the people who voted for those ministers to get that opportunity, they're surviving on 100,000 per household. That's slavery. That is slavery. So if the Venezuelans and the Colombians and the Cubans come to Guyana, economic migrants, and they are renting a house for 40,000 a month, Guyana dollars. And in that house, you have 6 or 7 of them. And all of them are working for a salary of about 150,000 per month. 7 people. That's almost $1 million. They pool it together. Almost $1 million. Their rent is 40,000. But together, their collective income in that single apartment is almost $1 million. Because they share the expenses. They don't feel it. The average Guyanese household don't have that luxury. It's a single parent with 3, 4, 5 kids. It's a couple, husband, wife, with 4 kids. They don't have that luxury. While the people who they voted for are enjoying 3.5 plus million a month, not a year, a month. Work this out in your head and try to justify it. I'm not talking about the private sector. Let me tell you something. If you are waiting for somebody to determine how much you are worth, you're poor. You have to value your skill. You have to know what you are worth. If you decide to go and work in the public system, then you have to accept what comes to you. It's not right, but you have to accept it. Or you can quit. But then if you quit, you have to be self-employed. You have to be your own entrepreneur. You have to decide and determine how much you are worth. I'm not talking to the group of people who can do their business and build themselves up to pay themselves 5 million a month, 10 million a month. I'm not talking to them. They deserve it. If you have established your business, nobody knew when you were struggling. Nobody knew when you went without salary. Nobody knew how much loans you took to start your business. Nobody knew. So if your business grew to a level where you can now pay yourself and employ your children and live above the standards of a government minister, I respect you. You deserve it. You decided how much you are valued. The government don't decide that. You decide that. So I'm not referring to the private sector here. I'm talking about people that were elected to make sure there is equal distribution across the board. I'm talking to them. It is unfair that ministers earn that much, plus benefits, plus they get kickbacks and deals, plus they get drawbacks on contracts. It is unfair. And this in the Ali government. This was the Jagdeo government, the Barnum government, the Hoyt government, the Ramatar government, and most recently, the Granger government. Both sides criticize each other, but when they get in position, they do worst. I remembered my president, Irfaan Ali, in the opposition, protested, wanted to beat up some PNC people. If he could have slapped Granger, he would have slapped Granger. Fighting for equal distribution of wealth, calling out the PNC about the low wages when they had protests about increased salaries for teachers and so on. My president, Irfaan Ali, fought and says 8% and 2% and 10% is ridiculous to give to public servants. At a time when monies was not really available, he saw, because he was Minister of Finance, he knew, President Irfaan Ali then, he knew the Granger government could have awarded higher increases in salaries. He knew that because he was Minister of Finance. He knew the country could have sustained it. So he fought for that because he knew the Guyanese deserved it. They set him up, arrested him, and all kinds of stuff because he fought for that. What happened now? What happened now, President Ali? Granger got into office and he raised the salaries of his ministers, of his cabinet, 100%. And gave the Guyanese people nothing. You fought against that, President Ali. You called them out for it. You wanted to beat them up, literally beat them up, because they were abusing their powers, abusing the system. What happened now? How can a minister earn almost 2 million cash a month, tax-free? How? And the average Guyanese, 100,000, public service. This in the private sector, public service. How? And we are earning trillions right now, Guyana, trillions. But yet the country can sustain, the country's economy can sustain paying government officials all that money, plus benefits, free cars, free this, can sustain it, but cannot sustain 100% increase for Guyanese public service workers every month. Can't sustain that, but can sustain all the other stuff that is extravagant. What happened now? You have the same opposition people, including the Mohammeds. Look at how they pay their staff. Look at how the Mohammeds pay their staff. Ridiculous slave salaries. Slave salaries. And they're pushing and talking about Guyanese deserve more, but they can't demonstrate that in their company. So I don't have time with the Mohammeds right now. Fuck them. They were never in government. But the PNC and all these people, they were in government. They took advantage of Guyanese. They starved, punished, abused Guyanese, PNC, on the Granger. They built nothing. They invested in nothing. They took a lot of loans to do nothing other than sustaining themselves without recognizing the need about balancing the share of the country's wealth. They didn't do it. Now they're blabbling. They think they're calling out the Ali government that there's no equal distribution, there's poverty and all that kind of stuff. I understand by comparison that the Guyanese people in general are being taken advantage of. But this has been the case with every fucking government. It has been the case. You would think they learned. Donald Ramotar almost lost 2010. Matter of fact, he lost the parliament because it was coming over from Jagdeo government, PPP run government, the elections. The PNC won the parliament. Why? Distribution of wealth. They accused Jagdeo, then his government, about fulfilling themselves, enriching themselves. So they almost lost the presidency. In 2010, 2015, it was official. They lost the presidency. Why? Why can't you people fucking learn, man? Why did he lose control of the parliament? 2010? Because of the same complaints, punishing the people, robbing the taxpayers, fulfilling themselves, enriching themselves, friends and families, same shit. 2015, why did the PPP lose the elections? Same shit. The PNC got in power on the promise, no corruption, transparency, equal distribution, serving the people, not all these fancy salaries from ministers and government officials, promised. From day one, they abused the system. What happened to them? 2020, lost. Why did they lose? Because President Irfaan Ali on the campaign trail promised the people transparency, equitable distribution, raising of salaries, and all these things. So Guyanese put their support behind the president. Even though it was a controversial election, the PPP won by 6,000. Very, very slim margin because people weren't buying it. People weren't buying it. It's like, oh, same shit, man. We don't have time with that. Throughout 2020, I mean, the Ali government in 2025, the PNC who knew what they usually do, and all these other people thinking they're exposing corruption, exposing this, exposing that, they did the same shit. So nobody gives a fuck what they say because you were busy with the same thing. So don't complain about Ali and say the PPP this because you guys were the worst. People didn't buy what they said. Even though people saw that politicians are the same. Make promises, get votes, and fuck the promises. The same. Other people had to come on board to reassure the Guyanese that, hey, we are putting our credibility to tell you to trust President Ali. Trust. We all came together and told the Guyanese, don't make the mistake to go back to the PNC. We understand the claims, we understand, but none of it is justifiable. We put our credibility behind the president. because we don't want a repeat of 2015, where the government lost the election. There we go now. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. I said this before. 2030 is just around the door, just around the corner. The people who made President Ali president are the people who are largely neglected. Largely neglected. I can't ignore that. They have too much pride to come out and complain, but they're suffering. Their businesses are failing. The only businesses that are succeeding in Guyana are the large businesses. And that seemed to be the focus of the government, only on the large businesses, the multinationals. But the people who voted and make the government gets a second chance, nobody cares. But 2030 is coming. Then we will care. Apart from 2030, local government elections must be held. And that is something that is going to happen soon. Local government elections determines what happens in the next election, general election. Who controls your local government controls the future of your party. If we have all these things flying around right now, and the Guyanese are feeling disenfranchised, they go to the shops every day, the prices are changed. Not for the better, for the worst. They go on their jobs, the salary remains the same. How can you convince them to vote for candidates of the PPP at the next local government elections when so far the only people who seemed to not being affected by the rising prices, the slave salaries, and even rumors of war are the persons who are on the list to be elected for local government positions? They're not affected. You think the ones who are affected are going to trust the process again? Don't be surprised if nobody goes out to vote. We had a very significant decline in voter turnout in September. Very significant decline. Not just because people were not in the country to physically vote. There were a lot of people, thousands of people in Guyana who refused to go out to vote because they're like, why? Vote for what? Either way, their situation is not going to change. They're tired of the promises. They're exhausted. They don't want to hear from politicians. When you look at certain things on social media from politicians, and you look at the kind of views they get, it's the same. No increase. The same people who watch them keep watching them. They're not touching other people. They're not reaching out to other people. Because people are browsing by, they're passing by, they're not interested, they don't want to hear. That's a bad sign. In a country that is struggling, that now has the opportunity to build, why neglect your most vulnerable? I don't have time with cash grants. Seriously, I think cash grants is an insult. It is an insult. The Americans give food cards. That may be a good option. You give people monthly food cards. So whether they're working or not, they get a food card with a certain amount only for food. It can't be used to buy clothing, rum, narcotics, cigarette. No. just for groceries. That's better than a cash grant. That's better. So that's a monthly. Automatically, they can go. If they exhausted, they exhausted. But every month, it automatically gets this amount of money for the purpose of food, groceries, not KFC, not junk food, not fast food, groceries from the supermarket or wherever. I would support that. And the other thing I would support is you have to. I'm saying you have to because this is how I feel. No minister deserves that kind of money, especially with all the free stuff they're getting. No minister. They represent a party, a political party, not the people. The people should not be funding such a bill for a minister. No government. They shouldn't. 2 million for doing what? Signing a few contracts? They don't deserve it. If a minister wants to justify getting 2 million a month for doing I don't know what, I think the Guyanese, the minimum wage for public servants should be at least 300,000 per month. 300,000 per month. Public service minimum wage. And that should be effective across the board, even the private sector. The laws should also reflect that within Guyana, the minimum wage should start from 300,000 per month. Now, what do you think happens when that happens? If it happens, you think prices are going to stay the same? No. The government will have to be able to sustain that. They have to be able to sustain that salary income. So it means taxes has to come back. Prices in the shops will be raised because income taxes on sales would increase. The monies has to come from some way to sustain that. So rise in salary would be a rise in commodities. The best that can happen right now is to flood the country with more commerce so the competition is so great that prices come down. You remove all the taxes from imports, basic stuff, all the taxes, and you decide the prices of these things. You do your calculations and you match. You can tell. You have a Guyanese who work for 100,000 public servants. Their monthly expenses on food should not exceed 30,000. Then you have to decide what are the prices in the shops. You, the government, has to decide that. You have to determine that. If it's a free market thing, what do you think happens? They take advantage of it. They exploit it. So people will cry, life is hard, things are expensive, because everybody has their own price. So I understand raising the salaries to 300,000 is not sustainable. Even with oil money, it's not sustainable. It's not. You have to bring it to a level that it can be sustained without raising taxes and without the prices in the shops going up. Cash grant cannot supplement that. Once a year cash grant cannot supplement that. You bring it to 200,000 minimum wage. That's a workable figure. That's a workable figure. So a household of two that are employed is 400,000. It's a workable figure. It won't get you out of poverty, but at least you won't go and protest. The minister's salary must be adjusted. Don't use the oil money to make them richer. The only people who are getting richer is not the rich people, but people who get into politics when they were poor and they become ministers, now they're rich. That's the rich getting richer. Then the budget is coming out in 2026 to reflect what? More higher budgets for ministries, and the government has to determine salary increases, but certain ministries get 10 times more on their budget. For what? Cut the monies of the ministers. 2 million? Really? I mean, seriously, man. In my mind, I'm thinking, even 750,000, fuck, man. 750,000 is still a lot of money for a minister who does nothing. Maybe you should pay Priya Manichan $1 million because she's working. She's making sense. She should get $1 million. But all them guys who sitting around doing commercials, promoting themselves, really, you give them 2 million? Their staff is doing the job, or their directors or their permanent secretaries of the ministry, they're the ones doing the job. Also, if the minister's getting 2 million, it means the permanent secretary is getting $1 million or 1.5 million. Damn. No wonder the public servants are getting 100,000. Because all these other people are getting 1 million, 1.5, 2 million. Fuck, man. The system is a mess. The system is a mess. In a small country, not even 800,000 people, and you have these millionaire ministers. Remember, this in the Ali government. The PNC government was worst. This is politicians in general. Politicians in general, when they are just citizens and they have to pay bills, they have to pump gas, they have to go to the supermarket, they know how it pains, they understand the struggle. But from the time they become fucking ministers, they forget. Now they live a free life. They don't give a shit anymore. Elections is coming up. Local government elections is coming up. You don't want a situation where you lose the local government elections because the candidates that will be up for elections in the local government elections are full of shit. They're candidates that people know and people want nothing to do with, and people will vote against. You don't want a situation like that. The changes has to be reflected. The changes has to be made now. There are countries that has far more national income. Their GDP is far higher than Guyana. But their salaries of the ministers are not greater than that of the directors of the ministry. It's not. An emerging economy like Guyana, now you're earning some money. Instead of saving the money, instead of building the treasury, instead of building the value of the Guyanese currency, the gold treasury, we're looking for opportunities to use the money. Projects, paying the ministers high salaries, events every night, this event, that event. That's what the money is used for. It's like you can't wait to spend it. Elections is coming up. I stand with Guyanese. The PPP can do better. Let us do better. No government, no minister should have salaries that insults the average citizen. No minister don't deserve in Guyana right now a salary of 2 million a month plus all the free stuff that comes with it. No fucking minister deserve that. If a minister get 200,000, 2 million, the minimum wage should be half a million. Half a million. The minimum wage should be half a million. The fact that Guyanese public servants earn around 100,000, a little over that, a minister's salary should be below a million. Below, far below a million. Because when cash grants are given out, everybody gets it. Everybody gets it, including the ministers who get their 2 million. Everybody gets the cash grant. It's not fair. President Irfaan Ali, I believe you deserve the 3 million. I believe you deserve that. After all, we were not attacked by Venezuela. The country wasn't bombed. You stood up for the country. You represented the country. So yes, you deserve that money. But that's as far as it goes. That is as far as it goes. You deserve it. Your ministers don't deserve 2 million a month. You as president, yes, we don't mind paying you that money. But we shouldn't be tasked to pay your ministers and all these directors and stuff all that money. They don't deserve it. Elections are coming up. Local government elections. You guys know how politics work. You lose the local government elections, you're fucked. You're screwed. So let's make the changes now so we don't lose the local government election. Because people can vote out of anger, malice, and a personal vendetta. They can vote for that. They don't give a shit about the result. They can vote because, oh, really? I'll show you what I can do. You see what they did to PNC? You see how they did it to PNC and they gave it to Win? They didn't care. They didn't care that he was a criminal. They wanted to teach Aubrey Norton a lesson. They taught him an ugly lesson. Look what they did to the PNC. We didn't believe that was possible, did we? We didn't. But look what they did. The PPP can't afford to take that risk. Can't afford to take that gamble. We have to win the local government elections for us to have a chance to win the 2030 elections. Reduce the salary of the ministers. Cut it in half. Cut it in half. I'll stay on that. Anyway, before I go, I want to extend my condolences to the family of Ron Robinson. In case you're wondering, yes, I knew him. And he knew me. And yes, he used to compliment me on my voice. Yes, he told me once, Doc, you got a good voice, man. I love your voice. Keep it up. Continue. He was a fan. I respected Ron Robinson, was the greatest journalist Guyana has ever known. I used to think that Enrico Wolford was another Ron Robinson, but since Enrico Wolford, you know, he got himself messed up with Aubrey Norton, trying to make Aubrey Norton look good in the previous election. I had to dismiss Enrico Wolford. I had to dismiss. Enrico, no man. But I still respect is still there for Enrico. But Ron Robinson, a great, great man. When he criticized you, you better listen. Criticized me a few times, and I knew he was the best when it comes to journalism. A wonderful character, wonderful character. He will be missed. He must be properly honored. You see, these are people that you name streets after. You know, the Ron Robinson Street. You name streets after people like that. He was a great man. My condolences to Guyana, to the family of Ron Robinson. My condolences. Until next time. Goodbye now.